Morning, everyone. Morning. Okay. So, thinking area 11, uniqueness. We all think that we are special. We all think that we can do what other people can't, and we all think that we are special in such a way that we can go through this addiction, or we can have dysfunctional behavior and it won't affect us in such a way it affects the rest. Okay. Who of you guys thought that you were unique? Okay. Not everyone. Quite weird. Okay, so maybe the ones who didn't raise their hand still think that they're unique. Okay, so if you think that you're one of a kind or a limited edition, one in a million or 1 in 10 million, you think that your story is different to the rest. You think that your story has a happy ending, that you can do exactly what other people do, break rules, cross lines, and not get caught, or not end up in a bad situation. Okay. We all have different stories. We all come from different families, different backgrounds. We were brought up different. We speak different languages. But even though our stories are different, we all ended up here, which is one place. So, literally and figuratively, in our lives, we ended up in the same place. We ended up at a place of no hope, at a place of disappointment where things didn't work out. Okay, so we don't need to try and be unique. The Bible speaks and tells us that we are all created in His image and likeness. God created every hair on your body, every hair on your head, and we are unique, we are special for Him. But our situations and our stories doesn't make us unique from consequences and unique from what happens to when we break rules. Okay. Let's read here. He considers himself to be special, one of a kind, and totally different from others, especially other people suffering from the same kind of dysfunctional emotions or behavior. Although in reality he may be very predictable and very much like other people. He wants to be above the rest and stresses his unique set of circumstances. Okay, let's use this example again, where you think that you are unique, you can break traffic rules, you can drive while you're under the influence, and all you need to do is stick to the left side of the road, drive slow, and everything will be okay. It's alright if you had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 drinks. You can handle it. Okay. A lot of times in our lives, in any situation, we do what we're not supposed to be doing, and we think that we are unique enough that we can handle it. We can break rules and we can handle it. That consequences will never reach us. That's our mindsets. We think that we can walk on the wrong side of the lane or the street or whatever, and it will be okay. But in this uniqueness thinking era, we get very critical about other people as well. And we will want to get mercy and grace but especially point out where other people receive those mercy and grace, and then suddenly it's unfair. Okay, let's go to the scriptural issue, and we first go to James 4 verse 6. And I want to read here, it's the spirit of pride and the unteachable spirit. Okay. But he gives more grace. Therefore he says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Okay. When we think that we are unique, we get filled with that pride. We get filled with, I'm better than the rest, I'm above the rules, I'm above the law. And it's exactly then when you bump your head. And the second knock is a lot worse than the first one.
Yes.
Okay. So, the second time you end up in a rehab or jail or an institution, your circumstances is a lot worse. You've damaged a lot more relationships. You've damaged your body physically. We damage ourselves mentally. We break relationships with loved ones, children. Some of us haven't seen our loved ones for months or years because of what we did. And even though our mindsets are right now and we want to restore those things, it's still consequences that we need to live up to. That consequences still need to play out. We still need to pay our debt. Even though we've acknowledged that what we did was wrong, we need to pay our debt and earn our way back into restoration, earn our way back into loving families, to financial prosperity. We need to earn those things back. Okay. The emotional effect, arrogance, lack of spiritual discipline, a deceived mind, and self-deception. Okay, let's go to Proverbs 29, verse 23. Okay. When it speaks about a deceived mind, we deceive ourselves in such a way that we can't believe that we are deceiving ourselves. We create a situation with so much smoke and mirrors that we don't know which is the truth. And we don't know which is the right way to turn, because we've manipulated, we've deceived, we've caused a whole bunch of bad things, and we lost trust. Our parents don't know whether they can believe us, even if we come with that sincerity and we really beg them to help us. They don't know if they can believe us. So, before I came to Jericho, I was at another rehab, and I was there for around about 2 years. And okay, I took some offense there, and things didn't work out the way I wanted it to happen. But over and above that, something happened which was wrong. Okay. And it was unfair, and I shouldn't have to go through that. And when I approached my parents, after 2 years of being in a rehab and being clean and working there and counseling and all those things, I approached my parents and I explained to them what happened. And they didn't believe me because of my track record. So, and that was 2 years in sobriety. And then I slipped up, I fell back, and I came to Jericho and I had to start all over again. So this time it would take even more for them to trust me. And I had to work double that hard to get the restoration of that family to the point where it is now. Okay, let's go to Proverbs. Oh, did we read Proverbs 29:23? Okay. A man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain order. Okay, so if we speak about a man's pride will bring him low. Just before that situation happened to me at that place, about 4, 5 or 6 months before that, I had an opportunity to come to Jericho to volunteer here. Okay. And I was so filled with pride that I rejected that opportunity because I thought I was better off than coming here to volunteer. Okay. So then I put myself back about another 3 years because now I'm only in a position where I could have been 3 years ago. Okay. Let's go to Proverbs 16, verse 18. Okay, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. That's exactly what happens. And we think that we know better, we think that we above the laws, and when we think that, we create situations where we end up in institutions and we lose jobs and we lose everything that we've earned and the things that God blessed us with, just because we become filled with pride. We think all the things that God blessed us with, we own. And as soon as our mentality goes to that point, maybe God just shows us that, listen, yeah, I'm blessing you with this, and you don't own that. And maybe it's time that you need to work for it again. And then we can humble ourselves, we can build ourselves up again, and we can work for the success. Okay. In group, find similarities to others. Search for similarities instead of differences. Observe ordinary people solving life problems and apply them to oneself. Okay. When pointing out others' problems or errors, follow up by examining how this relates to oneself also. So when you point out or when someone doesn't sweep the room properly, just go think about if it was your turn, or if it were your turn, would you have done it, or did you done it when it was your turn? Okay, let's go to Proverbs 8 verse 13. Okay, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way. So when we go through this uniqueness struggle and we think that we are better, we're filled with pride, and it says there that we should hate being that. We should hate coming to that stage. So if we recognize that we are heading into that direction of being filled with pride and arrogance and thinking we are better, we should flee from that. We shouldn't play with that and see how far we can go before we come to a fall. We should turn around and flee and run towards the other direction of humility, and then we wouldn't be filled with pride. Okay. We are all created individually, but we are all created by the same God. Okay. So we have the same sort of love and favor from God. God understands all of us the same way. He wouldn't make someone else better or more unique or more special than someone else. Okay. So God doesn't make someone a 6-star and then someone else a 10-star. We all 10 stars in God's eyes. Okay. In addiction and dysfunctional behavior, we believe that we are better than the rest. We are better than the people sitting in rehab, sitting in jails. And we only think that while we're not there. So we think that we are better. But if we really were better, why would we end up here? Okay. So let's look at 2 definitions. The first one is humility. Okay. The quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. So it doesn't mean looking down upon oneself. It means that knowing that your importance is not that important. Okay. Let's look at pride. Feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievement. And that's when you see value in what you accomplish, not in what God can accomplish through you. Okay. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 4 verse 6. Okay, it says, Now these things, brethren, I have figuratively transferred to myself and Apollos for your sake, that you may learn in us not to think beyond what is written, that none of you may be puffed up on behalf of one against the other. Okay, so we should not be puffed up. We should not be filled with ourselves. Sometimes we might be the best in something, but we need to know that it's God who gave us the ability to be the best in something. Okay, if I think that I'm the best in something and no one else can beat me, and they shouldn't even try, then I'm puffed up, I'm filled with pride, I'm filled with arrogance, and you create a way for your own destruction. Okay. So, if we're filled with humility, we would know that we have the ability to do so. But God will come through for us at the end. God will help us to accomplish those things, and God is the one who gave us the ability. Okay. Another divine viewpoint relating to this thinking error is found in 1 Corinthians 11:31. The verse says, "For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. Examine yourself, take a good look at yourself. Judging or critically appraising ourselves saves us a lot of misery. Have a reality check. We are really not so different. If we do not judge our own behavior, we will never change." Okay, so I would like to leave you guys with that. If it's not nice to be corrected, right? And it's not nice if someone points out our flaws and our wrong behavior and what we're doing wrong. But if we look in the mirror often, then we will be able to identify those things. We will be able to correct ourselves. And especially if we compare our behavior with the Bible, and we compare our behavior with if the Bible says it's right or wrong. And if we correct ourselves before other people correct us, it saves us that embarrassment and that unpleasant conversation. Okay, so please close your eyes and let me pray for you. Father God, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you that we can come here, ask that you will be with us and that you will bless us. And thank you for this new week. Thank you for the rain that you sent last week, Lord Jesus. Thank you for the lands, and please help everything to prosper. And I pray this in your name. Amen.